would you say that at the same time, like I said, interest rate reduction is something that needs to be looked at as well?
Well, you see, interest rate reduction for the borrower, yes, for the home buyer. And also for industry, there has to be, we've been shouting hoarse, interest rates have to be rationalized for industry per se. And why cannot a home buyer have a home loan at a 2 or 3% per annum like they do in the West? There's something that can be done, but probably the cost of money which our HFCs are getting is not as less as it should be, because probably the money raise is not being permitted in a way where it could be cheaper. So therefore, people who want a home loan, imagine getting a home loan at 2 or 3%, like in the United Kingdom or the United States, 2%, 3%. It's so attractive. And why wouldn't? And we have an inherent demand here. It's documented, and it's like we still have a shortage of about 10.8 million houses in the urban cities, the 13 urban cities, and we still have a shortage of 40 million units in tier 3, tier 4 towns. So that's a huge opportunity. It's like a fire waiting to be lit. So what is it that is keeping the buyer away? Is it that he doesn't get the right product? Well, that isn't so. I feel that, if there's a small incentive or, some attraction given to the home buyer that, you should, this is when he should, this is it, you should go and buy a house now. Because he needs that house or she needs that house. Problem is, you see, what happens is, policy is well intended. Government is well intended. Somehow or the other, this has to work in concert amongst various departments, amongst various ministries. So for example, the PMAY says that if you want a subsidy, it has to be the first home of the family. Now, there could be 5 people in the family and maybe one son already has a home and the next son wants to go and buy a home. So unfortunately, because of this small rider, he's not entitled to the subsidy of PMAY. Small chinks in policy prevent people from availing the entire benefit of policy. Rajiv ji sitting here, and I don't want to, blame anyone, neither the government nor the bureaucracy, but industry notices these small full stops and commas. And I think we are best placed to bring it to the notice of the people who are well-intended and who can actually make it happen. For example, the stress fund.
Many would say that since you're using that analogy, it's more like an exclamation mark right now. We're looking at the demand and the concerns in terms of the real estate outlook.
Yeah, so, I'll tell you, it is more of an exclamation mark because it frustrates industry that, here's this huge opportunity. People are there and we are willing to do this thing. I'm not saying that there haven't been bad stories in real estate, and I'm not saying we are here to defend it. What is wrong and cannot be defended. But there are good people who have made lovely complexes. There are people who are living in many of our complexes and they're very happy customers and residents. So we are here to provide the housing. The supply side is ready. The demand side is there. It exists. Let's bridge that last gap. Let's iron out any loophole in the policy which prevents the buyer from availing the benefit of that policy. Also, like the stress fund. Now, it's such a proactive step by government. Imagine giving a stress fund of that quantum. What happens is that in every project which is stalled, more often than not, there is a banker or a lender sitting. For the stress fund to give money to that project, the sitting lender has to accept that the new guy will be a LIFO arrangement, last in, first out. The sitting lender will have to exceed charge to the stress fund and will wait till he doesn't, the new fund, AIF, doesn't take his money back. I'm sitting here, I've been sitting here for 4 years as a banker, and I'm supposed to give an NOC to the new fund. Now, most sitting lenders, and Rajiv ji, let me tell you, this is what we must address also together. The sitting lender says, I will not give an NOC to the stress fund because I need comfort. Tomorrow, if the stress fund gets in, gets out, and there's nothing left in it for me to get my money back, who comes to my rescue? So this whole arrangement has to be seamless. So when government, so let me just ask this. So when government decided this stress fund, what the gap that remains is that this sitting lender has to be somehow or the other told, bank so and so, you have to be a part of this solution. You cannot say, so I've spoken to many bankers and they said, no. Because we at CREDAI are trying to resolve this puzzle along with the RERA. So many sitting lenders in projects which are stalled say, we will not allow the stress fund to have a senior charge over us. Right. It's there. So we went to government and said, why don't you just ask RBI to restructure lenders' debt as it was done in 2008 and 2009 without qualifying it as an NPA. So what will happen then is that if that is done, then the sitting lender will say, I will give you the last mile money. Why do you need this stress fund? And I'll give it to you cheaper. He's sitting at a 12%, 13%. The stress fund is speaking of a 15, 16% return. So the sitting lender says, I'm more than happy to give you that money, provided the RBI restructures my sitting NPA. But the RBI has not done that. So somewhere or the other, there's some obstacle. We move ahead. 2 steps, 3 steps back.
It is about bridging those gaps. And
yes.
It is about tying those loose ends.
And it can be done. I think it's just a matter of the right communication and synchronizing the orchestra.
On that optimistic note, it's a wrap on this session. We, of course, will continue to delve deeper into all of those aspects in our session number 3.